The last monster type added to Yu-Gi-Oh! Was Cyberus all the way back in 2017. With the upcoming Duelist Nexus pack, however, we're finally getting a brand new monster type in the Yu-Gi-Oh! TCG, Illusion. Some of the very first Illusion monsters are inspired by Yugi's Chimera the Flying Mythical Beast, and in today's video we're going to take a look at them. The first Illusion monster I want to look at today is Nightmare Magician. You might notice that this card shares a lot of stats with cards like Dark Magician, and also it has a pretty interesting ability. This card says if this card battles a monster, neither can be destroyed by that battle. This is an effect that you'll notice in pretty much all of the Illusion monsters in this set. At the end of the damage step, if this card battled an opponent's monster, you can take control of that opponent's monster. Once per turn, at the start of the damage step, if another monster attacks, you can destroy one card on the field. The basic plan with Nightmare Magician is to attack an opponent's monster, steal that monster, and then attack with that to pop an opponent's card. Now, it might look a little bit difficult to get on the board, being a level 7 monster with no special summon effect, but as you'll see in just a few moments here, there is a way to special summon it very easily. Next up, we have Cornfield Coatl? Not really sure. It means serpent in another language though, I'm pretty sure. Once again, if this card battles a monster, neither can be destroyed by that battle. Also, you can discard this card to add one monster that mentions Chimera Fusion from your deck to your hand, except itself. And then finally, when your opponent activates a card or effect that targets a card or cards you control, while you control Chimera the Flying Mythical Beast, you can banish this card from your field or graveyard, negate that effect, and if you do, destroy that card. It's going to be a moment before we look at the fusion monsters for this archetype, but I do want to note that they are treated as Chimera the Flying Mythical Beast when they're on the board. You're not only using these cards with the original Chimera the Mythical Beast from way back in the day. Cornfield not only has a good in-hand effect that sets up your combo, but also it has a good graveyard effect that protects your board. Mirror Sword Knight is an illusion monster that you'll frequently add with that Cornfield ability on turn 1. This card says you can tribute this card, special summon one monster from your deck that mentions Chimera Fusion except itself. Additionally, when a monster your opponent controls activates its effect while you control Chimera the Flying Mythical Beast, you can banish this card from your field or graveyard to negate that effect. So you can already kind of see here what we're setting up. You have an in-hand effect that then sets up a graveyard ability, and then this is an on-field effect that sets up another graveyard ability. So while you're doing your normal combo, you are setting up interactions with your opponent in your graveyard. While there are multiple monsters that you can go into with the Mirror Swordsman effect, one of the most commonly summoned ones is Big-Winged Berfomet. This is a level 5 monster, so it's particularly good to special summon it from your deck, then you don't have to worry about tributes or anything like that. This card says if this card is normal or special summon, you can add one level 4 beast monster and or one Chimera Fusion from your deck to your hand. Also, you cannot special summon monsters from the extra deck for the rest of this turn except fusion monsters. If this card is sent to the graveyard as material for a fusion summon, you can target one illusion monster in your graveyard, special summon it. So this is a really powerful card because please note that you are actually able to add 2 cards to your hand on normal or special summon. That and or might look a little bit weird, but yeah, you get to add a beast monster and the Chimera Fusion if you really want to, which most of the time you will. And while you could add that original normal monster Gazelle, the King of Mythical Beasts, if you wanted to, I think that most people will probably opt for adding Gazelle, the King of Mythical Claws. This is a new monster that says if this card is normal or special summon, you can add one level 5 Fiend monster or Chimera Fusion from your deck to your hand. If this card is sent to the graveyard as material for a fusion summon, you can add one illusion monster from your deck to your hand. Gazelle is great because it can help set up your combo on turn 1 by searching either the Berfomet or the Chimera Fusion, but also it helps set you up for the following turn as well. When it's used for fusion material, you can add a thing like Cornfield to your hand for the next turn, which ensures that you have a play even if you lose your entire board. We've heard about it a lot. Let's take a look at Chimera Fusion. This is a quick play spell that says during the main phase, fusion summon one fusion monster from your extra deck using monsters from your hand or field as material, including a beast or fiend monster. During your main phase, if this card is in your graveyard and you have Chimera the Flying Mythical Beast on your field or in your graveyard, you can activate one of these effects. Either add this card back to your hand or banish this card, and if you do, special summon both one Gazelle the King of Mythical Beasts, the original one, and one Berfomet, the original one, from your deck and or graveyard. You can only use this effect of Chimera Fusion once per turn. What a card! So it is a really good quick play polymerization that you can obviously add to your hand a bunch of different ways, and it has a good graveyard effect that can either put 2 monsters on your board if you want to play those, or just add itself back to your hand, which is also really good. Notably, only the graveyard effect is a once per turn ability, so you can fuse multiple times in a turn. The first new card that you'll probably want to summon with Chimera Fusion is Chimera the King of Phantom Beasts. This is a monster that takes one beast monster monster plus 1 fiend monster to bring out, and it has a few powerful abilities. This card's name becomes Chimera the Flying Mythical Beast while on the field or in the graveyard. Keep in mind that that is a very important effect because we have 2 cards that have good graveyard effects if you control Chimera the Flying Mythical Beast. Furthermore, if this card is fusion summoned, you can activate this effect, send 1 random card from your opponent's hand to the graveyard during the end phase of this turn. During your opponent's turn, quick effect, you can banish this card from your graveyard, then target 1 beast, fiend, or illusion monster in your graveyard, special summon it. What's cool about this card is that as long as you activate its effect when fusion summoned, it doesn't have to remain on the field to send a card from the opponent's hand to the graveyard. That's actually a pretty big deal because it means that you can use this card for a fusion summon after bringing it out and using that ability. And then while it's in the graveyard, just like with a couple of the other cards we've looked at, this one does have a graveyard effect that you can use during the opponent's turn. With this card in the mix, we can start to see a standard combo line develop as well. You can discard Cornfield to add Mirror Sword and then normal summon it, and then by tributing that swordsman, you can special summon the big winged Berfomet from your deck, and then that triggers to add both Mythical Claws and Chimera Fusion. From there, you can activate the Chimera Fusion to summon Chimera the King of Phantom Beasts, and then on a new chain, the King of Phantom Beasts, Gazelle, and Berfomet can all use their trigger effects. Off of just that one Cornfield, you're able to set up a board, have multiple interruptions in your graveyard, and send a card from your opponent's hand to the graveyard. And don't forget that during the combo, you get a lot of advantage over the opponent, and you get follow-up for the next turn. Finally, we have Chimera the Illusion Beast. This is the big boss monster for this archetype. Let's take a look at what it does. It has 3100 attack, 2800 defense, and it says it takes Chimera the Flying Mythical Beast plus any 1+ illusion monsters to fusion summon. This card's name becomes Chimera the Flying Mythical Beast while on the field or in the graveyard, so of course you can have those graveyard abilities active. This card can attack monsters a number of times each battle phase up to the number of materials used for it. If this card battles a monster, neither can be destroyed by that battle. At the end of the damage step, if this card battles an opponent's monster, you can change that monster's attack to 0, also negate its effects. This is how you win the game. Chimera the Illusion Beast can hit a whole bunch of monsters, put them to 0, and negate their abilities, all without you having to do that much setup. Remember, these cards give you so much advantage when you're doing the combo that it's really not that hard to bring out a big fusion monster like this. And don't forget that your opponent doesn't really need a big board for this card to work. As long as they have 1 monster, you can summon this, attack it, put it to 0, attack at least 1 more time because you use 2 monsters to bring it out, hopefully more times though to maybe go for a game shot. But even if you can't game your opponent with just this card attacking 1 monster, you might have 1 or 2 other monsters on the board. Remember that the other illusion monsters can't destroy things by battle either. And with that, I feel like you can really see how this deck can win out of nowhere against unsuspecting opponents. The last card we're going to look at in today's video is not technically part of the illusion theme, but it deals directly with fusion summoning and it works quite nicely in a couple combos. Fusion Armament is a spell card that says reveal 1 fusion monster in your extra deck and special summon 1 of the fusion materials whose name is mentioned on that monster from your extra deck or graveyard, but until the end of your opponent's turn, it cannot attack and its effects, if any, are negated. So with Fusion Armament, you can use this to special summon the original Chimera the Flying Mythical Beast from your extra deck, and then you can easily summon Chimera the Illusion Beast with even less setup than before. I think the first illusion monsters are cool, and I think what I like about them is that they can blend in with a lot of other fusion decks pretty easily. Specifically, Big Winged Berfomet can trigger even if sent to the graveyard from the deck for a fusion summon. That means if you send it to the graveyard with a thing like Branded Fusion or Shaddoll Fusion, you will still get that special summon of an illusion monster. And that is a nice benefit. You don't only have to use this card with Chimera Fusion, you can get that effect other ways as well. These cards also pair quite well with Guardian Chimera. Not only is it a Chimera name, so it's kind of thematically similar, but also it's just a really good fusion monster that rewards decks that can build a lot of advantage on the field and in their hand, and this theme can really do that. Anyway, that is all for today's video. Huge thank you to Konami for letting me reveal a brand new Yu-Gi-Oh type in the TCG, and I can't wait to see what other illusion monsters are printed in the future. There's so many old school cards that I think would have been illusion type, so I'm really hoping as we get more illusion monsters, we might see retrains of those. I'll see you later though. Thank you so much for watching. Goodbye.